Hello. Right, we are back. Still on the first case, which is a bit unexpected. I kind of expected I'd be able to knock this first case out in a single stream, based on the first two Phoenix Wright games, like the length of that first case, but this is a much bigger case than I was expecting. So we are Brian Erskine, we're the defendant in this trial, as well as the lawyer for it. We're defending ourselves. Blamed for the murder of an Englishman, a teacher at the university that we go to. Last time we basically uncovered that there's a bit of a cover-up going on, and that there was an English woman at the scene of the crime who was sitting at the table with the victim, who's probably the one that did it, but that the witnesses were told by the waiter at the restaurant not to acknowledge or talk about the existence of the English woman, because the waiter was a police detective undercover. We don't know what the deal with that is yet, why he was undercover there. But we revealed the existence of this this lady, and she has been called to the witness stand, so we'll be grilling her next. In between sessions, I went and looked up what the deal with the escapades is, and they are little like extra scenes that take place after particular cases, and before you start them, it gives you a warning saying like, hey, beat this case first. I think so. There's 8 in total. I think there's 10 cases total, so let's take a look. That's the second case, third case, fourth, fifth. Oh, okay. So is it the last 2 cases of the second game that don't have escapades? I'm not sure. But since these take place after the episodes, once we finish the case, we'll come and do the respective escapade. So we need to do in the defendant's antechamber. Spoilers about the first game's story. First game story. Oh, it doesn't say specific cases. First game story. Are they all just first game? Oh, they're all just first game. In the first of 8 escapades, Reyneske finds 2 trouble-making witnesses from the earlier trial having Battle of Worlds. Okay, yeah, that's going to be the army man and the old antique seller. SS Brewer. That'd be the second case. All right. We can infer from the descriptions what cases those come after. So let's continue. I'm probably going to be off on all of the voices for everyone. I think I remember the voice I did for everyone except for the judge, which I think I didn't settle on a proper voice for. Which is really bad because he's going to be in this game a lot, so I should really settle on one for him. Let's clear my throat. Take a drink. Alright. The court hereby resumes with the trial of Reynosuke Naruhodo. Prosecutor Ayuchi, have you managed to subpoena the witness? Yes, Your Excellency, against all odds. And thanks to a certain young stripling, the prosecution is now under rather painful scrutiny from the government. Sorry. Let the government scrutinize. That's their job. It's nothing to worry about. it's highly unlikely that the good relations we've forged with Great Britain will emerge from this trial unscathed. Will you still think it's nothing to worry about when the new treaty breaks down and your nation founders? Again, terribly sorry. If the friendship between our nations is really so fragile, then the treaty isn't worth the paper it's written on. You really have nothing to worry about, Ryunosuke. What do you mean? A secret trial, anxiety over some foreign government's opinions, a bungling investigation, missing witnesses. Is this what our nation's justice system is? Is this the Supreme Court of Japan or of England? Shut up! Shut up, you jumped-up rookie boy! You and your friend know nothing. Nothing of the situation our nation finds itself in. By aligning ourselves with this great world power, we'll become strong. Diplomacy has never been more critical. Got my throat. Steady political maneuvering is what will secure our futures. I won't deny that I'm no expert. I'm just a student, and one who could arguably study harder too. But standing here now in our Supreme Court, there is one thing I feel very strongly. A country that fails to uphold the truth in its justice system is a country with no future at all. Oh. Well said, Ryunosuke, despite the wide-eyed look of terror. You little brats! Thank you, Counsel. This court is the pinnacle of our nation's justice system. It exists solely for the pursuance of truth. With that in mind, this trial will now resume with the next witness taking the stand. A visiting student from Great Britain, Miss Giselle Brett. Yes. Your Excellency. Ooh, very fancy. Why is the detective up on the stand as well? Well, what a delight it is to welcome such a fine gentlewoman to Japan, and from such a distant land. Tea. Someone bring some English tea. In England, no discussion will take place without tea. Is that true? No idea. Oh, was that very nice guy asking if that's true? Whoops. So, could we possibly trouble you to state your name and occupation for the court? Oh, he was the guy who was doing like the... Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I have been working undercover as the head waiter at Yes, we know all about you already. Inspector Hosonaga, where are your manners? In England, it's always ladies first. Is that true? No idea. More importantly, a little earlier today you said something to me. You said your powers of observation are the one thing you're sure of. Oh yes, I think I did, didn't I? Yet your description of this amazing sight was simply a woman. Sorry, Ryunosuke, but powers of observation aside, your powers of description are sorely lacking. Guilty. So, dear lady, once again, if we may trouble you for your name and occupation, please. Oh, we don't get to see the eyes. That's going to be a pop-off reveal. That. I assume that's supposed to be her, like, speaking English. I'm terribly sorry, dear lady, but... What? The lady says her name is Giselle Brett. She comes from London, England. She's a visiting research student, currently enrolled in University's medical facility.
Oh my, what a rare treat to hear such dulcet tones of delightful language of the British people. I'm afraid I don't understand a word you said, but it was as beautiful as a hummingbird's song.
English is not a beautiful language. As far as I can tell. The detective is translating her words faithfully enough. Yes, I agree. You'll obviously do fine in England, Kazuma. Her English doesn't rattle you at all, does it? Nor you. You've clearly been paying attention to your English classes, Roinosuke.
Oh, so we can understand her.
The court thanks the beautiful lady for taking the stand. Now, if we may trouble you to confirm something, Miss Brett. 3 days ago, at the restaurant called La Carnival, a grim murder took place. The court has been led to believe that you were dining there with the victim, Dr. Wilson, at the time. Is that correct?
Oh god, are we gonna have to do this every single time?
Okay, I'm expecting there to be a reveal that she can in fact speak Japanese. She says yes. This could take some time. So even though she's studying here in Japan, she can't speak any Japanese? She'd like to apologize for disappearing from the scene. She says that she was due to make a presentation at the university, so she had to leave immediately. Interesting. When you're the one who engineered her escape. I was just following special orders from the Bureau.
Well now, dear lady, would you be so kind as to cast your eyes over this photographic print? Seeing as you were, so unfortunately, present at the scene of the crime, could it be that your resplendent eyes caught sight of this wicked perpetrator, perhaps?
Apparently, it was very frightening and sorrowful sight. Do you mean to say? Yes, it would appear the lady did witness the crime. The very moment when the accused, standing right there in this courtroom, shot the victim in cold blood. Order, order. I will have order in the court.
Did you hear that, Your Excellency? Here we have an absolutely conclusive witness statement.
Well, it looks like it's clear now. Clear who our real enemy is. Unfortunately, I will have to ask you to formally testify, if you please. Kindly tell the court the exact nature of this frightening and sorrowful sight you described. Alright.
Witness testimony.
A frightening and sorrowful sight.
Wait, is her speaking English going to show up as like a thing I can press or present evidence against?
I had arranged to meet for a slightly late luncheon with Dr. Wilson that day. The professor wasn't able to eat, so I ordered for myself only, a beefsteak. After a while, the accused came over to greet the professor, and they got into a fierce argument. Then, not long afterwards, the accused took the professor's gun and shot him right before my eyes.
So you're claiming the gun is the professor's?
Okay. And also you claim there was an argument, so yeah, we're gonna need to press that one. I don't carry a gun myself, so obviously I couldn't have been the culprit.
Weird you had to put that out there.
Oh,
I didn't even get a chance to read that. No, I didn't have any kind of argument with the professor at all. Quiet, you filthy wretch. Look at you, you black-hearted blackguard. And look at this snow-white angel. I'm sure even a dark-minded scoundrel like you can imagine whose words the court is going to believe. You're still making the same mistakes, Roy Inosuke. You mustn't blurt out when you're being goaded like that. That's a lesson you need to learn. But he's so annoying. Of course. I was at the scene as well. I took statements from this lady and the 2 witnesses who testified before, and reported back to the Bureau. It was decided that Miss Brett was not involved, so I let her go. The testimonies of the last 2 witnesses were completely worthless, however. Well, even so. On the day in question, the lady was wearing the same outfit as she is today. As you can see, there is nowhere about her person where she could conceal a firearm. Really? Really, on that massive fucking dress and the gigantic hat. Nowhere at all. The fucking swan on it. Sure. Yeah, I'd like to think she could hide a gun almost anywhere in that outfit if she wanted to. Unless and until the precise location of the witness is to have hidden a weapon can be shown, this is moot. There are no pockets in my outfit, and I have nowhere to hide a gun. Those are the witness's own words on the matter. That's ridiculous. If only I was allowed to lift up her dress, I could prove it. Don't think about doing anything rash, Inosuke. I didn't fire the gun I picked up. There must have been another gun there that day. You're right about that, which means this lady was hiding a gun somewhere. Yes, that's what we have to prove now. And to do so, we need to pull her testimony apart. Ooh. Ooh, the evil smirk. And after Kazuma just said that, so she can definitely understand Japanese. The defense will now cross-examine the witness. Oh, yes, Your Excellency. Cross-examination. Okay, they're skipping all of her. Okay. Unable to eat, so she ordered for herself. They got into a fierce argument. Yes! Press. I never got into an argument with the professor. All I did when I noticed him was go over to say hello. Please don't get angry with me. No, I wasn't directing that retard at you. It was meant for the lady next to you. But anyway, as I said, I did not argue with the professor. I'm afraid your words are in vain. Sorry? Miss Brett does not appear to speak Japanese. No, of course not. Japanese is such a cumbersome language anyway. English is the future. We must all supiku ingirishu. I wonder if the prosecution will feel that way forever, or only in the presence of a beautiful woman. Well, that beautiful woman is telling blatant lies with a completely straight face. I have to find something that will unravel her testimony, no matter how seemingly insignificant it may be. Anyway, it seems that after the argument, the accused briefly returned to his own seat. What? Why? That part ties with what you said, doesn't it? Yes, I still had some coffee to drink. Oh, right, yes, he did say that. He said hello, went back for his coffee, then noticed the gun on the floor and went and picked it up. And the next time you got up after that was when I'd finished my coffee and stood up to leave. Smoke. Press this as well, about the gun. Like I said, I did not shoot that gun. Like I said, there's no point in repeating that assertion over and over. Well, I wasn't expecting to be attacked by... I wasn't expecting to be attacked by my own side. Nevertheless, defendant, you can't deny that when the shot rang out in the restaurant, you had a gun in your hand. Well, yes, that's true, but... Slap. But all I did was pick up the gun I saw on the floor next to the professor as I was leaving the restaurant. In fact, yes. There was someone much closer to the victim at the That will do, you dirty, rotten scoundrel. Dirty? Your baseless accusations could very well cause an international incident, boy. It seems to me that your accusation is just as baseless as ours. What nonsense. The lady is merely stating what she saw. And this is already an international incident as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Let's press her on not being able to carry a gun. It's all very well saying that, but can you prove it? Absolutely. I verified it personally. You verified it? Yes, I immediately after the incident, I checked to make sure the lady was not carrying a weapon. I distinctly remember her saying, "I'm not." That's all you did? You just asked her? Surely you carried out a physical search, Inspector. No. Why on earth not? It would be improper. An honorable English gentlewoman clearly stated that she did not possess a weapon. There was obviously no need for any further probing into the matter. Or there was no permission given for any further probing into the matter, perhaps. Think what you will, but if you're going to continue this preposterous claim that the refined lady was concealing a firearm, the prosecution demands that you support your assertion with facts. In other words, he wants evidence. The lady wishes to point out that of course she wanted to stay and assist the investigation. But she was in a hurry to give a presentation at the university, so she was compelled to leave. Not to mention the fact that your office had told you to get that woman out of there. Not get her out of there. I just urged her to leave. The lady would like to point out that she is in no way meant to run away from this. The lady would like to point out that in no way she meant to run away from the scene of the crime. Which is why she is only too happy to cooperate and testify here in court today, of course. Unlike a certain student who refuses to admit when the game is up. Could you at least have the courtesy to pay attention when I'm goading you? So she's maintaining that you got into an argument with the professor, at the end of which you shot him. Which is now totally unfounded lie. Still, her statement is very, very compelling. After all, she's an elegant, refined, young, and beautiful gentlewoman from Great Britain. In stark contrast to you, dressed from head to toe in a dull black school uniform. I'm dressed exactly the same way as you, except for the flapping red ribbons. How do they work exactly? There's no wind in here. Well, anyway, this is our only chance to expose her testimony as the fiction that it is. If we can't do that, then the trial's over. Even you with your thick skin must still be able to feel the murderous looks you're getting from around the room. Only too well. I feel half dead already. And the fact that I can't see a single inconsistency with the testimony isn't making me feel any better either. The first thing to do is press her on any of her statements that seem even slightly off to you. Do that, and an opening will present itself. I promise you. I need to expose the true face of this exotic foreigner that's hiding behind the mask. That's what I should be aiming for in this cross-examination. Oh, is she gonna turn out to not be English? So I think the first two were the only two that I didn't press, so let's... After 2 PM, in fact. That's really quite a late lunch, isn't it? You don't keep up with the latest fashion trends in Britain, do you? Late luncheons are en vogue. Isn't that right? No. A decisive English no has quite the sting to it. Gentlewoman is currently working in the victim's research laboratory, it seems. So it was apparently a daily occurrence that they would lunch together. But on the day in question, the victim had another appointment at the clinic first. Yes, which we can prove from the medical report card that was submitted in as evidence earlier. That's right. Miss Brett and the victim went to lunch following the victim's treatment, which is why it was so late. Yes, that all makes sense. Such wonderful logic. What a shining example of English intelligence. This fine woman. Oh my god, this fucking dude. So you both arrived at the restaurant. What happened next? Okay, so whatever's gonna come up in this statement. So why is he seated with the beef in front of him? Let's press him and see if we get any more info from this. He was unable to eat, you say? And that was because he just had a tooth removed at the Huda clinic, correct? That's right. You're supposed to actually check with the witness before answering. Was Miss Brett aware of that fact? It seems so, yes. She'd heard the professor was to have some dental treatment. So that would mean that it was you who ate the steak pictured here. Is that right, Miss Brett? That's right, yes. The print you have there shows the table exactly as it was left after the horrifying events. Exactly as it was left? Dear me, what a harrowing experience. To have travelled to a distant island on the far side of the world and be embroiled in such a tragic incident. Have no fear, my dear lady. I swear I will crush this evil fiend that has subjected you to this terrible plight. So the victim, Dr. Wilson, had nothing to eat or drink at all. That's right, other than some carbonated water. Just water? Yes, the professor was unable to eat, but he had been given permission to drink water. Okay. Yeah, he can't drink anything but water. Fair enough. So it appears that the diners toasted their lunch with a glass of water each. They each raised a glass of carbonated water. What do you think, Ryunosuke, about the witness's last statement? It's fucked. There's only one glass. It's very meaningful. Slap. That last statement of yours, Miss Brett, has a profound bearing on this case. Well, how fascinating. Do tell us what this profound bearing... do tell us what is this profound bearing, significance of the statement will become apparent when the time is right. The defense calls for the witness's last statement to be formally added to the testimony.
Well sidestepped, counsel.
Very well. Miss Brett, kindly repeat what you just said. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your witness. Oh my god. Kindly repeat what you just said to be added to your official testimony. Okay. Gladly, she said. That's brilliant, Kazuma. I'm going to remember that one. Which one? The significance will become apparent when the time is right. I could have really used that phrase. I'd hope there was some more useful tips you're picking up from this experience than that, Ronosuke. I ordered the beefsteak for myself, and the professor and I said cheers over a glass of carbonated water.
Yes!
Yes! That's it. Let me just confirm something, please. It's to do with this photographic print. Just a short while ago, you spoke of this print showing the victim's table at the crime scene. That it was exactly as it was left. That is correct, the lady says. Slap. Well, that is, it's odd. Very odd.
Dear me. What's odd is the defense's inability to express itself.
Ronosuke, what is it about this print that looks odd to you? Well, obviously, it's the cheers.
The cheers?
Miss Brett just told us that she and the professor said cheers over a glass of water. But if that's true, where's the second glass? There should be 2 glasses on the table, not 1. Ugh. You're quite right, counsel. There's only 1 glass pictured here.
Are we supposed to be impressed by this nitpicking over minutia?
God, I think that's the first time I've ever seen the word minutia written down. I've only ever heard it spoken.
What possible difference does the presence or absence of a glass make on the case?
Minutia, you say? Could it be that the detective here removed the glass from the table to conceal the lady's presence? Of course not. I would never do something so reckless. But there should have been 2 glasses on the table. Or are you going to try and tell me you can clink with only 1? You're quite right. I certainly took 2 glasses to the table. Inspector, what did the lady say? It would seem that it was Miss Brett who took the glass from the table.
What?
It was all so terrifying, everything that happened. I panicked and thought I should try and hide the fact that I'd been there at all, she said. Good gracious.
Sorry. There. As I assured the court, there is no consequence at all.
Oh, please.
We must remember that this student had just murdered this lady's luncheon companion before her very eyes. Who could blame her for concealing a glass or 2 in her state of disarray?
That's absurd.
Oh, really? So do we take it that you are now going to accuse this vulnerable young and beautiful woman of mischief?
What?
No. This can't be put down to mischief.
I'd like to know. Exactly how the lady took the glass from the scene. It would seem that she slipped it into a small handbag she was carrying. A handbag that could carry a gun? A handbag, you say? Yes, Your Excellency. A small handheld pouch commonly carried by well-to-do women in England. So, the beautiful lady has very graciously explained how and why she removed the glass from the scene now. However, the fact remains that this glass has absolutely no bearing on the case. This student has been trying to confuse the court with logical reasoning. Wow. Thinking things through, damn him. Damn him for looking at the facts, what a bastard. But in the end, it comes to nothing. No more pretentious accusations. You have wasted enough time already. Indeed, the lady has offered a satisfactory explanation as to why she removed this glass. I think henceforth we can consider the matter to have no bearing on the case. Counsel for the defense, are you in agreement? Well, I don't know really. If you want to pursue this matter further, you're going to need to show that it has some deeper significance. Yes, you're right. So she took the glass away in her handbag. Is there some deeper significance here? The handbag. Wait, the lady put the glass in her handbag, you say? Yes, do try to keep up. It's already been explained to the court that all English gentlewomen carry handbags for small items. Let me see. A little while ago, Miss Brett stated the following. There is no pockets in my outfit. I have nowhere to hide a gun. But what if she forgot to mention? What she forgot to mention was her handbag, in which it could be perfectly possible to conceal a gun. You're right. Well done, partner. I had a feeling you'd pick up on that too. What are you insinuating, you vile blackguard? It's really very simple. The gunshot was heard when the defendant picked up the gun from the restaurant floor. As he didn't fire the gun, we can deduce there must have been another firearm at the scene. The true murder weapon, if you will. You can't seriously be suggesting. Inspector Hosonaga? Yes? Did you or did you not search Miss Giselle Brett's handbag on the day of the murder? No, sir, I did not. As I thought. In other words, another gun, the one that was actually used to kill the professor, could have been hiding in Miss Brett's handbag. No! Order, order. What is the meaning of this, Inspector? The meaning of what, Prosecutor Auchi? Why on earth did you not have the lady open her handbag and show you the contents at the time? Thanks to your bungling incompetence, now she has to endure these uncomfortable accusations. Brilliant work, partner. Now we have a chance to expose the real woman behind the mask. Do you think so, Casimir? Dude, why are you constantly coughing up blood? What the fuck? Well, what a sorry situation. Clearly you have no faith in the police. As I said, I did not search the lady's handbag after the shooting, simply because it was unnecessary. Unnecessary in what way? I ought to thank the student lawyer, really. Wipe. I have a piece of evidence here that I had completely forgotten about. This photographic print. Wait, what? It's see-through? This print is of a photograph that I thought would be prudent to take immediately after the shooting.
Also, what's the weird mark on his arm? The weird bull shape. An indent from something? From like hitting his hand on something, maybe?
As you can see, it clearly shows Miss Brett's handbag. Well, I never. You can see right through to what's inside.
Why would you even take that photo? Okay, never mind.
That's right. Apparently, meshwork bags like these are in the height of fashion in London at the moment. So the contents are clearly visible. Exactly. So there is no need to search the lady's handbag. If there had been a gun inside, you would have been able to see it immediately. It would have been immediately obvious. As you can see, there's nothing to imply Miss Brett's guilt here.
Oh, they both did the little, like, turning their head to the side at the same time. Oh, God.
Thank you for helping to prove that, Naruhodo-san. Order. Inspector Hosonaga, you will submit this print as evidence at once. Certainly, Your Excellency.
Photograph of the handbag has been entered into the court records.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel.
Well, I want to take a look at that. Oh, I can't examine it. Okay. Right, yeah, I think that has to have like an icon on it, doesn't it, for me to properly examine stuff.
I think you've had long enough to cross-examine the witness, counsel. The court has now been shown considerable evidence. As the photographic print just submitted to the court record appears to have no further significance, I am satisfied that there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling.
Indeed, there is only one logical conclusion. That the pathetic rookie slumped over the bench before us is the only possible perpetrator of this crime.
No. Just when I thought I was beginning to turn things around. I'm in a worse situation than I was at the start. Oh shit, even Kazuma's like... Kazuma? I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. Now that the cross-examination of the witness is over, there's no way to force the trial to continue. What? You mean this is it?
I must say, you put up quite a fight for a rookie student, but the weak can meet, while the strong eat. You are wasting your time. There is no way to defeat true justice. A fact you can chew on to your heart's content from inside your cell.
This can't be happening. Am I really going to be found guilty of a crime that I didn't commit? Kazuma. His dream of going to study in Great Britain will slip through his fingers. Kazuma. What? Is there really no chance now of turning this trial around? You heard the judge. There's nothing about the last photograph the detective produced that we can contest. Which means there is no basis on which we can argue for the trial to continue. Very well. I will now proceed immediately to the ruling.
It seems we'll be able to report to the British government on time after all.
That smug little. Roanoke Naruhodo. Having considered all of the evidence placed... Wait, Your Excellency. Roanoke. I don't think you can rule on this case just yet.
This amateurishness is getting tedious. When His Excellency deems that the trial is over, he gives his ruling. That is the most basic protocol of the courtroom.
Your Excellency, just a moment ago you said this. As the photographic print was submitted appears to have no further significance, there is no longer any room for doubt in this matter, and I must make my ruling. Now, that means if there was some problem with the evidence, some significant detail I mean, then ruling on the case at this time would be out of the question.
This is blatant straw clutching. Look at this photographic print. All it shows is the handbag that the gentlewoman was carrying on the day in question. There can be no problem with this evidence.
It's his right arm down to the side. She's consistent with that. The chair's moved. Oh, it's the thing from the plate. Okay, the bull symbol comes from the plate. But then, what? How did he get it imprinted on his arm? On his hand? You better know what you're doing, Roanoke. I understand your objection, counsel. Certainly, the new evidence submitted by the detective has not undergone the court's scrutiny. However, I fail to see how we can glean any new information from this handbag.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Really, the prosecution is becoming tired of this rookie's desperate wheezes.
Yes, I am desperate, but this isn't a wheeze. There's something about this photograph which just doesn't seem right. If only I could put my finger on it. Very well, I will grant the defense one final opportunity.
What?
But be warned.
They've even got a fucking animation for him, like slapping the hammer. Oh, that's great.
Very threatening pose. But be warned that I am very unsatisfied with your... That if I am very unsatisfied by your response here, the trial will be over with an immediate effect. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency. So, take another look at the photographic print Inspector Hosenaga submitted before. You will identify for the court where in this print we see the significant detail to which you have alluded. Oh, it really has put me down to like game over stars.
Yes!
Present, triangle present. Look at this here. There's a very unusual mark on the victim's wrist. That is true. It looks almost like a burn of some description.
Dear me, I was pondering what new piffle you would come out with. A burn, you say, on the victim's wrist? Certainly that has nothing whatsoever to do with this magnificent lady's handbag.
Yes, that is a burn mark, you're right. Go on, Inspector. The police coroner also noticed it when he was performing the post-mortem examination. It was deemed unrelated to the cause of death, so he didn't note it in his report.
What did I tell you? In any case, we have no idea when the victim suffered this burn, do we? And no possible way of knowing either. The more I look at it, the more I find myself intrigued by this curious shape, the curious shape of this mark. However, as Prosecutor Auchi points out, unless a firm connection to the case can be shown, I cannot allow any further time to be spent on the precise details of this burn. Excuse me, Your Excellency. It would seem Miss Brett has a lunch appointment with the Dean and other university staff. She would like to know if she may be excused from the stand now.
Oh, of course, my dear lady. We shan't hold you up any longer. I'm quite sure His Excellency is about to give his final ruling anyway.
What's your thinking on this, Ryunosuke? Do you believe this burn to have something to do with this case? To be honest, I'm not really sure. But if I don't keep pushing, then it's all over. So I was thinking I should keep digging and digging, in the hope that I might uncover something useful. Yes, you're right.
I am?
If we can just link that burn to the case. If we can do that, we may be able to prise this shutting back door open again.
Just give up, Counsel. You can't possibly hope to do that.
Indeed. I'm afraid that without evidence, I cannot allow you to pursue what is little more than conjecture. But if we had evidence that irrefutably linked the burn on the victim's wrist to the case, then you'd allow it? I would, yes. To tell the truth, I hadn't noticed that burn. But as soon as you pointed it out, what I did notice was the color draining from Miss Brett's face. Really? I have to find some link between the burn and the case. This is the moment of truth. It's time to find out. Let's try and find some evidence that proves what that burn really means. So then, the defense will now present its evidence to the court. Evidence that demonstrates the inextricable connection between the victim's burn and of this trial.
Yes!
Is that photo we saw before? What is this, Counsel? Yet another print? Yes, Your Excellency. I believe these photographic prints are an amazing invention. When we humans look at the scene, we miss things. But in a photograph, things we may have overlooked at the time are recorded forevermore. Oh, pardon me.
Do hurry up, Rookie. What are you trying to say? To inconvenience this poor lady any further would be quite inexcusable.
Actually, we may need you to stay with us a little longer, if you don't mind, Miss Bright. You see, it's very clearly visible in this other photograph. How did the victim come to have an unusually shaped burn on his wrist? The reason is recorded here forevermore. What? How?
You can't fool me with your little bluffs, boy. If that's your game, then let's see how it plays out. Show the court exactly what you mean. What is in this photograph that explains the reason for the victim's burn?
Yes!
The beef steak?
Actually, the point is the metal plate the beef is served on.
The plate? Oh! Your Excellency? Are you alright?
As you can see, there's an emblem on the plate. I would guess this is some sort of trademark of La Carnival. This emblem on the plate.
And the victim's burn are exactly the same shape.
Ah!
Roanoke, you genius.
You're spot on.
Which means the victim must have suffered this burn while he was present at the restaurant. But even if that is the case, we can't know if it happened on the day in question or not. It could have been the day before, or the day before that. Most likely happened at some other unrelated time. Well, Sadly, Prosecutor Auchi, the chances of that are extremely slim. Thanks. Why? The outline of the burn is clearly discernible. Such a serious injury would have caused quite a commotion at the restaurant. Wouldn't you agree, Inspector Hosonaga?
I can't imagine having missed such a terrible disaster, certainly.
But...
I would say, looking at this picture of the wound, that it wasn't suffered very long ago. And although it's not particularly large burn, it's extremely well defined, as the defense just pointed out. This is no mild burn, that is for sure.
Can you be more specific? Can you be more specific, Inspector?
Well, let's see. If the plate was around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have almost my god. Let's just start that entire sentence all over again. If the plate was at around 90 degrees centigrade, a burn like that would have taken around 3 seconds. It's inconceivable that the victim wouldn't have let out a scream of pain then. I've been investigating at the restaurant for several weeks already, but I've not heard anyone scream at all. As the head waiter of Le Carnival, I can testify to that without hesitation.
But you're a detective, not a waiter.
Yes!
Why is Kazuma just pointing?
There you have it. Something isn't right here. As the detective said, anyone who burnt themselves on piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds would scream in pain. There's no question of that. And yet Inspector Hosonaga never heard the professor scream. Not on that day or any before it. That's right. And the strange thing is, on the day he was shot, I didn't hear him cry out either. What are you suggesting? Well, if the professor had carelessly laid his wrist on the plate for anything like 3 seconds on that day, that would be beyond careless, I think, Counsel. Then the rest of us in the restaurant, myself and the sergeant and the old antiques dealer, all of us would, without any question, have heard him scream. Wouldn't you agree, Prosecutor Aochi?
Yes, well, yes, I suppose.
So the question is, why didn't a single person hear Dr. Wilson scream? I almost don't believe it, Roanoke. Do you think? Can it really be true? I never dreamt we'd arrive at a conclusion like this, but I'm starting to think that maybe we've been led into a terrible trap. There's only one explanation I can think of to make sense of this apparent impossibility. In the day in question, when he suffered the burns to his wrist, Dr. Wilson was already dead. No man could remain silent whilst his wrist was burning on piping hot plate for 3 whole seconds. That's clearly impossible. Yes, clearly impossible. No one in the history of man could ever endure that. God's sakes. apart from one particular situation. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes. It's only possible. Alright. If the man was already dead. Already dead? Knowing what we know now, it's the only possible explanation. When the beefsteak was brought to Dr. Wilson's table that day, the professor was already dead. That's madness. Order, please. Counsel, explain this absurd notion at once. The victim was killed by a gunshot. That's right. That's absolutely right, Your Excellency. This is just another ridiculous ploy by the rookie student, but clearly he has no grasp of the facts. No, Prosecutor Aoji, it is you who has no grasp of the facts. I beg your pardon? As soon as it became apparent that the victim had suffered that burn while at the restaurant, this whole case was turned upside down. Or have you not grasped that yet? Your Excellency, the court must hear from this witness again. If it's true, as we now believe, that the victim was already dead before the gunshot was heard, it's highly likely that Miss Brett It's highly likely that Miss Brett knows something about it. Incredible. I certainly didn't anticipate this twist of events. I'm sorry to say, Miss Brett, that you will have to forget your luncheon engagement. But, Your Excellency, the justice system in our country may be in its infancy, but rest assured, all reasonable doubt must be dispelled before I am prepared to pass judgment. Thank you, Your Excellency. What was that smile? Yes, of course. I mean, I'd be delighted to help. Especially if it helps relations between my country and yours. What the... Miss Brett, you speak Japanese. Well, of course I do. I am studying in your country after all. But then why have you been speaking through an interpreter until now? My mother tongue, the Queen's English, is the most refined and elegant language in the world. As a gentlewoman, I try to avoid speaking in your vulgar tones as much as possible. Wow, fuck you. But it seems the men in this land possess none of the chivalrous virtues of English gentlemen. So I can see that I shall have to lower myself to communicating with you all on your own level. Well, you are the epitome of a true English gentlewoman. We are truly honored by this. Your lavish consideration you so graciously afford us. I see. In that case, Miss Brett, I will now ask you to testify in your own words about the events leading up to the death of the victim, Dr. Wilson. So, we're going to hear her in her own words. So we're going to hear her own words on the matter. Things are getting interesting, Ryunosuke. Witness testimony. The victim's death. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast. And as I have heard,
The post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death beside the gunshot. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. But of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Wow, you are just like goading the legal system. The most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in Supreme Court history. Thank you. Easy does it. I hope that this is the last time I have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Oh, fuck you. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight to merely hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I'll be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this bully of a student, as you put it, doesn't miss much. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I'll be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Alright, victim's death. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast. Why do you know about the post-mortem report? I'll take a look at the report again. What did it? Loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. Bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Okay. Alright, let's just go through and press everything. But his hand was on searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived in this courtroom, and even still now, the fly in those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! What fun! You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Rhinosuke. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson is a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can. Oh my god, he is that's fucking absurd. Well, I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in toast. As you testified before, you were drinking carbonated water, is that right? Dr. Wilson was only permitted to drink water at the time, if you remember. Which explains why he ordered the drink.
correct, waiter?
Exactly as you say, sir. Although, whether or not the professor actually drank any of the water when I delivered the steak to the table, I'm afraid I don't remember that.
Damn you. I have enough English to understand that at least. For the benefit of the others in the cart, it means bless you. I think it means the exact opposite. Anyway, as far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. Loss of blood.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage of from ballistic trauma. Yes. Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. As there are no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death. It can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But that doesn't make sense. The burns must have happened straight away, when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter.
Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make burns like that.
And if the victim's burn on his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out there, and if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must have already been dead at that point. And yet, the fact is the victim was killed by the gunshot to the chest. Until you are able to show the court evidence to disprove this fact. This is a complete waste of time.
I concur. Prosecutor Aochi is right.
If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do tell me.
Yes!
Without leaving a trace. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there are always telltale traces on the body. Quite right, my dear lady. As our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. She poisoned him. With the carbonated water, probably. Isn't that right, Inspector Hosonaga?
As I have stated, I always aim for a flawless investigation.
There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. But maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't leave a mark. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're going to have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought, calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my Anna, I, Taketsuchi Aochi, will cut down anyone who dares cast such aspersions. A way of killing someone that leaves no trace.
We need some evidence to back us up here.
Yes, evidence. See, the glass is empty there. There's some liquid left in it there. Maybe there is. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm not sure.
Yes!
Let's keep pressing her.
Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything housed at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Isn't that so? Quite right. The Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may have been lost. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Haha, killer blow. The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting the police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Aochi is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, there's something about what Miss Brett just said. There was a moment before when something didn't quite seem right. What do you think, Ryunosuke? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected. She's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break her testimony, and the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Kazuma. What, Ryunosuke? There is one thing I noticed. Something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Hosonaga. The detective. Yes. He seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. If it might present an opening, maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that statement, last statement one more time. If you think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself. Let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. I wonder what Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Okay, back to the last statement.
Yes!
Inferior? What do you mean by that? Yeah, this is a repeat.
Wait.
Ah, there we go. Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the English woman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when they're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him. He's lost in his own thoughts. It's time to pursue the man in his train of thought. Sorry, pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryunosuke. It's all to do with the witness marker. Yeah, witness marker. What marker? At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. Ah, new gameplay mechanic. We're switching between... Alright. But by moving the marker left and right on your D-pad, you can turn your attention to other people on the stand.
Okay, so is every single case now, or every single like testimony, going to have at least 2 people up on stand, so that we can do this? Because I did think it was weird that the first testimony with the antiques dealer and the soldier had 2 people up there, but it's actually going to be like a gameplay mechanic now.
If you catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere among the people on the stand, take a good look around.
Alright then, so first I should move the macro across to focus on the detective, then pursue him. Here we go.
Wait.
Okay, I'm pressing left. There we go. God, that takes a second. You have to wait for the animation to finish. Right, I'm actually going to do this after a quick break because I need the bathroom. So, back soon, won't be long. Alright, we're back. So my microphone's just wobbling. God. They're just getting comfortable. God, all of these, like, talking for like an hour or so straight is like absolutely messing me up. Like, it's making my head like super lightheaded. I do not talk this often, this much, in such a short amount of time. Normally, so it's a bit of a change, bit of a test of physical endurance during these visual novel streams, especially because it's all talking in this one. All right, let's pursue. Excuse me. Oh, that's a new exclamation. Okay, what was actually said just there? Because so much happened so quickly. Excuse me. What's the meaning of this? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to shock you. He really was lost in his thoughts, deeply. Looks like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court. What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful Englishwoman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with her testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Wipe. Well, yes, if you don't mind, I would like to speak. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain, which is why I, Satoru Hosonaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. A crime scene thief? Well, looks like the lady's remarks touched on a nerve there. Take this, for example. It's the poisoned water. Is that... This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took from the victim's table on the day in question. And yes, it's lost all its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone else says. Yes, there's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming. I guarantee it. So I just need to adjust my mic 1 second. There we go, that should be better. It was just a little too low. Like physically low. I was having to slouch down to speak into it properly. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Okay. Shared by the victim and Miss Brett on the day of the... Yeah, okay. Miss Brett? Can we examine? Oh, we can. The label is written in a foreign language I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Then go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. Nothing on the flute? Nothing there. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. Looks like there's a bit left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me going. No, Roanoke, you can't do that. For one thing, it's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh, no, you're right. We don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Roanoke. In more ways than one. I wonder, could there have been anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. Okay. But no actual changes to the piece of evidence itself. Okay. Miss Brett. Can you confirm that this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes. It was that bottle. What was that about? She seems to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. The new inspector will kindly control his fervor. If I just present the bottle... we've got the possibility of there being something in the water, but we don't. Okay, cool. If I just hold circle, it'll fast forward through. Yeah, I guess...
Yes!
What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing a man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order. And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor, and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it.
Giselle Brett, it was you.
This is outrageous. To suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You rookie imbecile. Have you ever considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling of your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one's crime.
What?
The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth.
If I may, I will silence you forever in this. Whoa, she got her own. She got her own interruption thing. Whoa.
It is you who should be silent.
Of course. Dear lady.
Where did that come from?
She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies.
I'm sorry, my lady, to what are you referring?
I described your police force as inferior. But no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe. The bottle, I mean, Inspector, and whether it contained poison or not.
Of course.
You did?
Have you forgotten that what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time.
I don't believe it.
Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents.
And what did you find, Inspector?
I ordered tests for every known toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison or any description in the bottle. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency.
What? Are you sure?
The tests were meticulously carried out by our chief coroner himself.
No. I'm very grateful to all you Japanese. You've successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure.
This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned.
Thank you, counsel. Now, I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution has asserted, a shot to the chest from the gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. Done for. The court wishes to apologize to the great inconvenience that this has caused you, Miss Brett.
Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved.
Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point?
Kazuma?
No, I'm sorry, Ryunosuke. I have nothing more.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving.
Wait, that was Ochi? Oh, her.
Please, wait.
She's gonna get the exact same voice as Miss Brett. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this?
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikotaba? In my darkest hour, with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package, wrapped in furoshiki cloth.
Oh shit, that's it. Okay.
I wasn't expecting it to end so suddenly. Save!
And over at my save. Alright, then on to part 3, but not today. Give me the controls. Options. Back to title. Right, and we'll do part 3 next time, which is the last part of the trial. As I saw when I looked up the walkthrough last time to see how long this case was going to be. Oh my god. Yeah, once again, just the amount of talking I have to do in this is just so, like, draining, like, physically. Like, I can feel my throat starting to, like, get a little bit sore. I'm getting lightheaded from just all of the talking. It's like a massive just test of endurance. I unlocked literally anything. Oh, cool. Thoroughly examined something. Alright, cool. So yeah, we will wrap up here for today. Next time we'll finish off this case. And then, depending on how long it takes, we'll see about doing the... what's it called again? The escapade. For the episode. And then, I'm not sure if I want to, like, roll straight into the second case. I think I'm leaning towards yes. Or if I want to just jump into Bloodborne. Because I'm kind of eager to start playing Bloodborne, but I think I probably should do 2 cases just so, like, I'm not doing this game over, like, 10 separate, like, not streams, but like chunk of streams. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that is going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Bye.